All right, next up we have our pattern brushes. So pattern brushes paint a pattern made up of separate sections or tiles. So when we apply this brush to our artwork, different tiles of the pattern are applied in different places. So there are ends, middle sections, and corners. Depending on how tight your corners are, you can also have inner and outer corners that need to be defined. So we can choose from many in the Illustrator libraries, or we can create our own. So first up, we're going to apply an existing pattern. So let's fit in the window here. There we go. In our brushes panel, we are going to show the pattern brushes and hide the bristle brushes. So all I'm seeing right now is a denim seam, and that doesn't really apply here. So we are going to first use our selection tool, and we're going to double click on one of these yellow paths in the house. And you can see that a single click doesn't do anything. We need to double click to get into isolation mode to just get to one of these yellow pieces. Once we're in isolation mode, click on any one of these yellow lines to select the group. Back in our brush panel, we're going to click on the library button at the bottom left, and we're going to come down to borders and then borders frames. And these are the options that we have right here. Let's go into list view so we can see them by name. Bi, beveled, tri-beveled, pine, oak, mahogany, etc., etc. We're going to click on the mahogany brush. Ooh, so cool. Look that it was added over here, and look how it was added on our artboard. If that's not cool, you guys can't be my friends. So I think that's really cool. Then in our in our brush panel right here at the bottom, there is a options of the selected object button. It's also over here in the properties panel to the right of the brush that we're using. Doesn't matter where you go to it. We're going to click on the options of selected brush. This is going to edit the brush option for only these selected paths on the artboard, not the way the brush behaves overall. We're going to turn on our preview so we can see what's happening, and we're going to change our scale up here down to 70%. So as you're pulling on that, you see a little bit different look in your preview. I'm going to stop at 71, that's close enough, and we're going to say OK. We're going to hit the escape key to get out of isolation mode, and we're going to click away to deselect. So look at that, we just put mahogany on our cabin. That's pretty cool. So that's using something that's already here. The next thing we can do is we can make a pattern brush all on our own. For a simple pattern that's just going to be applied to a straight line, we can select the content that we're going to use for the pattern on an artboard and then just click on the new brush icon to actually make it. For more complex patterns that have curves and corner pieces and maybe inside and outside corners, we need to define a little bit more than that. We are going to put these swatches in our swatch panel, but the cool thing is that Illustrator is going to auto-generate the brush corners, so only one side tile needs to be defined. Illustrator can figure out the rest. So we're going to move to Artboard 3. Looks like a nice yellow light. And we're going to look at the thumbnail view. And in this thumbnail view, unlike the list view that we were just in, the thumbnail view shows you the different pieces. So these are the regular side tiles, but here's a corner. Here is a denim seam that has the straightaway parts, but it has a down corner or a left corner and a right corner. So in this view, we see that there's up to 5 things that we can actually specify as different tiles. All right, in our brush panel, we are going to click let's see, do we have to do something first? Yes, we did. With our selection tool, we're going to first click to select this yellow light bulb group. So with it selected on the artboard, we're then going to come to our brush panel and click on the Make a New Brush. And we want to make this a pattern brush and say, okay. Look at that, isn't that cool? So the only one we needed to know was the side tile, and Illustrator automatically generated an outer corner tile. We're going to name this Lights up here at the top. And we're going to look at these 5 tiles. If you hover around them in this area, it's going to give you a tip. Maybe I have to hit tab. Ugh, come on. There we go. So you have your outer corner tile, your side tile, your inner corner tile, your starting tile, and your end tile. And they give you a little visual of what they are talking about, outside corner versus inside corner. Let's see. We're going to click on the side tile option, and that's the original one that we loaded up for this brush. And that's exactly what we expected to see. In the outer corner, this one right here, we're going to click here, and we have some options. You might need to click twice, but we have auto generated, auto between, auto slice, and auto overlap. So a definition of all 4 of these can be found in your book on page 351. But real quickly, auto centered, the side tile is stretched around the corner and centered on it. You can see that, and it looks kind of goofy stretched. Auto between means that copies of the side tile extend all the way into the corner, 1 copy on each side. Auto sliced, this next one down, the side tile is sliced diagonally and the pieces come together like a miter joint in a wood picture. Just doesn't look all that good with our artwork. And then auto overlap, copies of them overlap in the corner. We're going to choose the auto between and then say okay. And click away to deselect. Let's look up here in our brushes, and we now have a new one added that's called Lights. So when we use this border pattern brush, we first draw a path that we want it to be applied to, and then we select the brush to actually apply it to the path. So let's pop back to Artboard 1, and we're going to zoom in a little bit on our cabin. This looks so peaceful, doesn't it? With our selection tool, we're going to click to select on this horizontal green path. So it's just a regular path, 5-point stroke. They made it green so it was easy to see. At the bottom of our toolbar over here on the left, before we move on, we want to make sure that we have no fill and actually no stroke. So we're going to take that green off. You could have done it over here in the appearance panel as well, or down at the bottom of your toolbar. So no stroke, no path. We just have this path selected here. So with it selected, we're going to click to apply the Lights brush panel. Look at that, we have 2 ginormous lights. We're going to click to deselect or do a select, deselect, Control-Shift-A. And because it's a straight line, we don't have any corner or ending things to worry about. We just have 2 lights applied here. So next thing, as you can probably guess, we're going to edit this. We don't want 2 ginormous light bulbs. We want it to kind of look realistic. So the first thing we're going to do is go back to Artboard 3. There's actually a white bulb. If we click on this, we can see that it's a white light bulb. We're just not seeing it because it's on a white background, but indeed it is. So we also want to switch over here to the swatch panel, from not in our brush panel, but go to the swatches panel. And with our selection tool, we're going to drag this grouped selected artwork into our swatch panel. So watch this. Selection, drag it in. When we see the green plus sign, we're going to let go. And now we have a little swatch that is a white light. We can deselect it on the artboard. This artwork is now saved as a swatch that we can use in our patterns. So in reality, we're actually done with these. We wouldn't have to keep them or anything. We've made our pattern and we've made a swatch out of this one. Let's go back to our brushes panel and go back to Artboard 1. And in our brushes tab, we're going to double click on the lights pattern brush to edit it. So we're going to get this to pop back up. And so far we have a corner, outer corner, and we have side tiles. In this, the only thing we're going to worry about right now is our scaling of it. At 100%, they're too big. We're going to pull our scale down to 20%. And since I have my preview on, I see a preview of how it's working in my artboard. We're also going to click on the outer corner tile swatch. And we want to actually add a new swatch to this. Oh, we need to scroll down. I'm like, what's going on here? Scroll down. That's the problem with small pop-up windows. There we go. They have the 4 options that we saw before, but now we added a new swatch that was called New Pattern Swatch 1, and we can switch to choose that one. So now in our corners, we're going to have a white light bulb, and we're going to say, okay. All right, this says this brush is in use. Do you want to apply it or not? We do. We want to apply it. But let's look. Nothing happened. But that's okay. We expected that. This is just a straight line. There are no corners, so there's absolutely no need to add that corner swatch. We're going to take our selection tool and we're going to click on this green rectangle path. Zoom in a little bit here. And select, deselect. All I want is this green path right here. I have to be a little bit more specific. And this one now has corners, so we're going to see how this works. With this selected, we're going to click to apply the lights. Hey, look at that. We have our corner lights showing up just as we expected. The white lights showed up in the corner, and we were successfully able to apply that. Zoom out, click away to deselect, and do a file, save as, and we are good through page 353. And that's how pattern brushes work. So lots of cool stuff. You can see that you can make your own, or you can go into the libraries here and you can look for all sorts of different pattern brushes as well. So that is that for the brushes. We're going to move on to some new tools now.